Hello, everyone, and as always, welcome back to Strategy Gaming Dojo, where we're finding and learning and turning the great strategy games. Today, back into Gary Grigsby's War in the Pacific Admirals Edition. Boom, boom, boom. This is our PBEM challenge against the devious Lodric. And Lodric has really gotten out on the front foot, and he's actually sunk quite a few of our ships. Now, there aren't that many ships where I'd say, oh my gosh, that's too bad. That's terrible. Well, I'd say that's too bad for all of them, but to say, oh my gosh, we've lost something really important. But he did this last turn knock out some AOs and some armed merchant cruisers that bothered me. Is that the best way to say it? They upset me. I'm so upset. Let's go look at the information tab. Now, I've just been showing you the combat the last few turns, and so let's kind of catch up with the game and see where we are. The Allies today ran 5,120 sorties, the Japanese running 6,442. Now, how does that compare? When we played the AI by December 17th, which is the day today, we were certainly running more sorties than the Japanese were against the AI. The AI is just not as aggressive as a human player. Now, that doesn't mean the AI is bad. I think the AI in this game, especially if you download Andy Mack's, 16 different derivations of the AI, is actually quite good, especially for a game this complicated. But it's just not going to compare to a human. And as you can see, he's run 35, almost 36,000 sorties. We've run 20,000, right? So, he's definitely been more aggressive in the air, especially his bombing campaign in China, which I think he's really done a very nice job with. Air-to-air losses, we actually had zero, and he had zero today. 146 to 98 on the total there. Okay, again, against the AI, we started to win this war because the AI will sometimes foolishly send in bombers without escorts, and you can kind of chew those up. Destroyed on the field, of course, early in the game, we're going to have, quite a few of these. Anybody that's watched the Let's Play knows that this bothers me more than any other air losses in the game. There's really not an excuse after the first 3 or 4 turns to be getting aircraft destroyed on the field. You should have them arrayed in such a way that you've got cap up over any bombers. No bombers should be sitting on an airfield all by themselves with no cap protection. This 58, a lot of that happened in the Philippines. Whether it be the first turn or the first several turns, and also at Pearl Harbor, of course. And so we're fine now. We're not losing any on a daily basis, and we shouldn't be by the time you get to this point. Destroyed by flak, we had two this time. Now he's got 47 overall, so our flak has been doing a pretty decent job. We've only got four, right? But we're not really running offensive bombing missions. Operational losses are another thing that you really can control. Destroyed on the field, operational losses. Those, in some ways, are on you. Now, you are going to get a few of those every turn. It's just the nature of the game. There's a dice roll and there's a, 95% chance, let's say, I'm making up numbers, but let's say there's a 95% chance that they're going to get back to base. Well, that means there's a 5% chance that they're not. They can get damaged. That could cause them not to be able to get back to the air base, etc., etc. 3 is certainly acceptable. Now, we've got 118. We also had a lot of damaged planes in the Philippines and elsewhere that a damaged plane is more likely to take operational losses. I'm also flying at a lower altitude than I probably would against the AI with my bombers, the few bombing missions that we're doing, and so that's going to add up to more operational losses. We got 128 political points. I've been spending them as we go along, usually down in Australia, but we'll talk about that when we get down there. The current score, he's about to cross 4,000. We're at 10,790, probably a little lower than I would like to be. I mean, usually through December, I would like to definitely stay above 10,000, but usually against the AI, this would be up at 11,700, not 10,790. But we're doing okay. We're doing fine. It's no time to worry about points. Play the game, as if you're going to try to win the war, and the points will take care of themselves. Scoring. We control 570 bases, and that's the grand big, number that gets us all of those victory points. The Japanese have 266. Of course, that'll grow and grow as he gets Singapore and places like that. You'll see that score for him go up quite a bit. He's lost, uh, let's see, 201 aircraft points. All right, so we've lost more planes overall. They're valued a little bit more. We've lost 328. He's lost 201. Army points lost. Now we've got to start chipping away more at the Japanese. Of course, early on, he's going to have his way in China. Well, he's going to have his way in China most of the time, but we've got to, early on, we're trying to get our troops into position, and you just take massive, massive losses. We also are getting ripped up in the Philippines and Malaya. Again, it's very normal, although against the AI, this would probably be closer to 500 to 100, something like that. He's done a good job of minimizing his losses for the ground he's taken so far. Allied ships sunk. This is way too high for us, and I blame myself a little bit. It's not catastrophic or anything like that. We're totally fine, but when I agreed to the rules into Manila, he got a lot of ships into Manila, and then we've lost a few, transports cargoes that I probably wouldn't like to lose normally. But again, we've got a lot of that stuff coming. I try not to worry about the points early on. Ultimately, run the war the way you think is best to win the war, and again, you'll end up winning on points. Japanese ship sunk. Now we're only showing two. We've put quite a bit of damage on several different ships that maybe made it back to Japan, maybe made it back to big bases, maybe didn't. But it's showing 2 for 20. So you can see 1175 to 20, 726 to 11. We'll start to even those up as time goes on. When it comes to the ships, we pretty much now got it ironed out. I believe where we've got, our high value ships out of any harm's way, with a couple of exceptions. And we're getting our Chinese troops set up. We'll start to even that score up a little bit. Okay. Um, let's see. What did I want to look at here? List top pilots. We do not have any aces. Now, we did have an ace before, or a couple of them, but they have now, I believe, been killed in action. I'm trying to think. Oh, I've just got this. Sorry. I think I maybe let's put that back on all nationalities. Yeah, Harrington is our top guy with 3 kills. British Buffalo 1. That's almost certainly coming out of Singapore. We've got some news. These are all Singapore, I believe. I think a lot of. Oh, I know what it is. A lot of these U.S. Guys in the Philippines had quite a few kills actually, but they were either killed, taken prisoner, whatever you want to call it, and or sent back to the pools. We don't have any aces as we sit. Exit? No, I didn't want to exit. Let's go down here to a ship sunk. All right. And as you can see, let's go through the points. The Maryland and the Nevada, nothing you can do about that, obviously. The Indianapolis, nothing you can do about that. Now, this Otis, this was at Manila. It's too bad. This is a really good submarine repair. That was a tough one, but nothing we could do about it. So, these top four, nothing we could do about it. Now, these AMCs, there was something we could probably do about that. These were killed in that strait, this last turn, that strait by Ustave Batavia. That's 54 points. Now, these armed merchant cruisers just aren't the best ships in the world. They got a little anti-aircraft, a little maneuverability. They can carry a little bit of cargo, but certainly don't need to be out in the line of fire. So that 54 points, I'll take that on me. Holland again near Bataan. So you're talking about, anything trying to get out of the Philippines? No. Near Oosthaven, this was the tanker, the British judge, that was coming out of Palembang, and unfortunately did not make it through that straight. Now, that's just the kind of risk you have to take early in the game, so I'm not too upset about that. I am upset about having lost four AOs so far. Balabac, Manila, these two, not a whole lot you can do about those two, but the Neches and the Karawa out here by Pearl Harbor coming from San Francisco, I'll put those two on my shoulders. 38 points there. Shoot. What else can you say? Shoot. Then we got a bunch of stuff near Manila. You can see here that, 17, 16, 15, 12. We've lost quite a few tankers out here by Manila, Balabac. We also lost this Anastasia near Palembang. And then after that, it's again a bunch of what I would consider normal losses, normal attrition. The only thing I would say is abnormal is losing all of these subs at Manila, but that's just based on how we're playing the game. It's not because we moved it in the wrong place or something. They just got blown up on turn one. Um, Okay, as we look through here, anything kind of under, 8 or 7 points, all of these, this is just natural stuff you're going to lose. You're going to lose things by attrition. So it looks like a lot of ships, but there's only about five or six I'm really, kind of mad at myself for losing, and you can see them here last turn. 27-27 on the two Australian armored merchant cruisers. I have fixed that problem. No AMCs will be going into anything that looks like combat. And then the two AOs. Those are the real, big ones last turn. They all happened last turn. That I guess I would say upset me. But you're never going to play a perfect game. Not in a game this big. I should. And I will. I mentioned this in the last video. I'm so used to playing the AI now that um, I didn't at the start do a good enough job sending escorts with the high value tanker AOs. I've now rectified that problem coming out of Pearl Harbor. I had destroyer after destroyer after destroyer. They've all met up with task forces out there so that they have actual escort. Now, against the I generally run a lot of patrol zones because the AI is not aggressive as aggressive with the subs. But against another human, he's done a good job of putting a net right in front of Pearl Harbor, which he should do. But again, overall, it's 100 points or so. That's not going to decide the game, and you get a lot of AOs eventually. Although you're a little light on a lot, a little light on them at the start, but you could argue really AOs are a later game. Ship anyway. You use them as tankers early on. Later on, they go out as those, floating gas stations to fuel up your carriers and stuff like that. They'll go with carrier task forces. Other than that, last turn, uh, the Japanese Navy, this is that destroyer that we got of his. We did lose a British transport. Okay, this was near Morocco, so that's through that Oosthaven, Batavia area again. Um, and then, gosh darn it, I hate losing the vampire. It's got, well, it's only showing one anti-submarine now, but it's got eight when it's operational. Well, now it's at the bottom of the sea. I'm surprised it even has one. That's how good its anti-sub is. It's been sunk and it's still a one anti-sub. That's pretty damn good. These are all those little Dutch transports that I tried to get over to Pontiac. Is it Pontiac? No, 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 no. It's Banjarmason. I tried to get over there and get that infantry division. I took a calculated risk there. Didn't work out, but that's okay. We lost some AKLs, some minesweepers, again, these small Dutch transports, small tanker. But really, it's these AOs and these AMCs that were the problem. All right, let's go out on the map and just kind of look. I'll try to not spend a whole lot of time on each place so we can kind of hit the whole map. But what's going on at Abaddon? Well, what always goes on at Abaddon? You can see my task forces here. We have the tankers going straight from Abaddon into Karachi. Now, I have a lot of these, I think they're Corvettes up here, KVs. Yeah, like the Janista. The Janista has all these KVs have an anti-sub of 4. They're really nice early in the game. Now, when these get to Karachi, these tankers and whatnot, I'll also put a KV with them. Now, usually the AI never really gets up here. A human player will bring a sub or two up here. It's a long way from his logistical base. Now, if he can eventually take, let's say, someplace in India or Colombo or something like that, it's a whole different ballgame. But early on, I run a lot of just patrol zones up into this, where it comes out of the penalty box. It usually comes out right here and goes straight to Karachi. And these are your big, massive task forces that you're going to want to bring in here, get as much fuel and supply as you can into Karachi so that it flows through India and it gets to the center of India here. The fuel goes in there and it cranks out supply when put with resources. AKs, I've got some going down to Colombo here. And so, how do I set these up? Now, just talking a little bit bigger picture. I try to find all the 12,000 endurance, 12 speed British or Commonwealth ships that I can. I put them together and I send them up to Abadan to go Abadan to Karachi. These are your workhorses, and you have a lot of them. Now, I don't put them all in the same one, but you can see here's one task force with 5, okay, and it's loading supplies to go to Karachi. Um, Here's one with 4. It's got that 3,900 capacity, which is really nice. I've got it set up as a CS Karachi, and it's going to do the exact same thing. Abadan to Karachi with supply. And then I've got yet another one, a fourth one, CS Karachi, loading supplies. Now, the first time through with all of these, I'll do supply. Why is that? Well, if we look up at Karachi, or I'm sorry, look up at Abadan, it's got 144,000 fuel, which is a massive amount, right? But it's also got 36,000 in supply. So I try to get all of the supply I can. You don't really need supply at Abaddon. You've got a base force up there. That's about it. And so I try to get that on the first time around and maybe the second time around. And then I maybe will switch some of these off to carrying fuel. Now, if you're kind of new to the game, why wouldn't I just have it carry fuel, which there's a lot more of? Well, when you use AKs or cargo ships, these are really dry cargo ships. So if they carry something wet, they only get half their capacity. So you can see here, 3,900, we've got, a total capacity of 15,600. If I switch these to carrying fuel, they can only carry 7,800. And so that's just one of those mechanics in the game that's very important that dry cargo ships, AKs like this, they only carry half of their cargo capacity when they carry fuel or oil. The two wet resources. Um, okay, so we've got those 3 big cargoes, and then I have a tanker that's going to Colombo. Now, why am I having this one go to Colombo? Well, it's only got a 12,000 endurance, getting all the way to Perth. So the main places out here we're going to are Karachi, Colombo, and Perth. Those are the 3 big Western ones. I also use Bombay as kind of a secondary dock here in India sometimes because Karachi doesn't have a huge port, and so sometimes some of the overflow I'll send to Bombay. But if it's only got 12,000 endurance, I'll have it come out of Karachi and either go to or I'm sorry, I keep doing that. Abadan and either go to Karachi or Colombo with 12,000. Now you can see these are 10,200. They're even smaller with a bigger capacity. So that's going to Karachi. It's got less endurance. The bigger endurance I'm sending to Colombo. These AKs, again, they've got 12,300 as opposed to the 12,000 endurance. So the 12,300 I'm sitting to Colombo, and that's really it. I go to Colombo, I go to Karachi. By dumping into Karachi, you get all of India essentially fueled and supplied straight out of this big rail line. Thank goodness the Brits built railways all over India. It makes your logistics up here much, much easier. We've got nothing else here. If you look at Karachi itself, um, now it's only, I say only, it's got a level 5 port. So I'm building port, I'm building airfield. You will not have a supply problem in Karachi. You've got enough coming in here. So build the port, build up the airfield, build the fortifications. Now, with fortifications, I know some people set it on for everything. And I guess if you're expecting the Japanese up here near Delhi, maybe you want to do that. But as you can see, I've cleared out most everything that I can here and send it to the coast. Send everything to the coast that you can. That's where the action 90% of the time is going to happen. But you do have garrison requirements up here. And so I've gone through and tried to min max, because let's say you have a garrison requirement of 20. Right? A lot of times you'll start the game with a unit that's got a 50 some combat value to it, and then you've got one at a place without a garrison that's got a 21 combat value. Take the 21, put it where you need 20 for the garrison, and then ship out the other one to the coast. And so I've done a lot of that. Let's see if this is a good example. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. This is Ba Riley. Ba Riley needs 20. We've actually got a 39 here, but when I moved these around, you're not always going to get it perfect, right? What is this? Moradabad. Okay, at Moradabad we need a 20. Again, we have a 39. Okay, well, like I said, I tried to min-max them. You sometimes that's just what you have to do. In Delhi, we need 60. I've got it at 69. Sometimes you'll have to turn replacements on to get there, but don't let those garrisons just go away because you lose a point for each garrison that is not properly garrisoned every turn. That can really add up if you don't have your garrison set up correctly. You can see here, Ambala, we need a 20. I've got a 22 in here with this, infantry unit. So I've done all that. Everything else I've sent out to the coast. Now in Karachi, you start with an Australian unit up here. I sent a transport up here and I grabbed it. That infantry unit is well on its way to Australia now. I mean, there's no real reason to have an Australian unit up here. Some people, or if the person you're playing isn't being very aggressive in Malaysia, you can send it into Singapore if you want to. But usually I send it all the way down to Darwin. So it's on its way. It's heading that way right now. We have 4 task forces in Karachi right now. We have a tanker, the Athelstan. You can see its endurance is, less than 12,500. That's kind of my rule. Anything over 12,500, I would send to Cape Town usually and have it go Cape Town to Perth. But any of these smaller ones like the Athelstan, it started, I think, with 12,000 on the dot. I've got this coming into Karachi, dumping fuel in there. Um, we've got the tanker, the Vivi. This has a very low endurance. It's dumping into Karachi here. You can see, is that true? Oh, no, no, no. I was actually going to send this to Bombay because this is already unloaded. So this came out of Abadan. Actually, let's send it back up to Abadan and have it reload here. And then we're going to have that one potentially come into Bombay. It doesn't have a huge endurance though, so I'm not exactly sure why I was doing it that way. Well, I've changed my mind now. It's going to go Abadan to Karachi because of that lower endurance. We've got these 2 AKs. They are going to Bombay because they've got a lower endurance. And I'm going to run Bombay to Colombo. That's usually how I'll do it. Instead of going Abadan to Colombo, I have everything go Abadan to Karachi, dump in here. But then, as you see, if we go down here to Bombay, Bombay's got 73,000 fuel and 33,000 supply now. So I'll just run little short missions from Bombay out to Colombo. You need to keep Colombo very well supplied and well fueled. It's the main base. It already is 69,000, 63,000, but I keep dumping in there. And usually I do that out of Bombay. You could also potentially do it out of Madras or Goa if you wanted to, but usually I do it out of Bombay. All right, so up here in Karachi, we've got things unloading, we've got things moving other places. We've got some level bombers up here running air search, or naval search or ASW. We've got a small force here. We'll bring more into Karachi. It's just too important. Now, it's almost logistically impossible for a Japanese player to get up here and invade Karachi. Unless he's taken, some of this down here, and then does become possible, and we would have to react to that. But anyway, so Abadan, Karachi, Aden is obviously the other big one that we dump into Karachi. Now, right now, we haven't gotten all the ships into Aden that we want to, but you can see we've got a huge endurance ship here, the Ariadne Moeller. Now, usually I send this one to Cape Town, I think, but it just so happens to be up in Aden, so we're gonna, take this down here because we've got quite a bit of stuff in Aden. Usually Aden builds up supply where Abaddon builds up fuel, just something to keep in mind. And usually you get your replacement British troops into Aden, and so I try to send transports up this way. As a matter of fact, yep, I've got the big transport, the Esperance Bay up here at Aden, waiting. Waiting for those British troops to arrive here. Then we'll take them out. I've already taken one task force of British troops out, about and around. I think I took them down to the Dutch East Indies. And so I've already sent one. And the Esperance Bay, you can see the anchor here, meaning we've got something in port. It's sitting there. I've also sent quite a few ships out. As a matter of fact, maybe this is one of the transports. This is. Okay, so this came out of Aden. It's the 3rd Hussars. I put them on the Largs Bay and I sent the Clan Lamont along with it to take some of their equipment. They're going to come into Karachi because then we can put them on the rail straight to Calcutta. At Calcutta, we can decide what to do with it. Never forget that. You don't have to take them from Aden all the way around India. You can take them into Karachi, put them on the rail, and they can go, anywhere in India, essentially. So we got that going through. We've got a big tanker that's got a home port of Aden. I think I'll actually set that home port up to Abadan. So he's going to drop off once, then he'll go up to Abadan. We'll send smaller tankers back up to Aden because, oh, I don't think it's going to allow me to do that because he's in the penalty box right now. Let's try this one more time. Yeah, you can't change it when he's off map, so we'll have to change that later. We had that transport. We've got these AKs. This got screwed up a little bit, but I can't change it now while he's in the penalty box. I'll fix that. The light cruiser, the Hobart, starts up in Aden, and now we've got it heading down to Colombo. And then we've got another big tanker, the British Venture, and you can see that will return to Abaddon. Okay, as we move around the side here, the other next big point to think about, and these are my nodes. These are where I take everything and get it really whittled down to about 15 to 20 really important places on the map. It'll also help you uh, keep your mind straight about where everything is in such a massive game. All of these task forces have come out of either India or Colombo, Ceylon, and these are all heading to Cape Town. So they exit the map, right in this area, and then boom, they go through the pipes that you have here, and they end up in Cape Town. Right now, we don't have a lot in Cape Town. I've sent most of what was here to begin with up and through the penalty box here. They'll come out way down here and head to Perth. You can see we've got a lot of other shipping, but what I was going to show you is we've got ships coming out of Perth as well. This is about where they come through to get back to Cape Town, and it's just Cape Town to Perth over and over and over. We do have the city of Exeter that is loading supplies and will be heading to Perth. We've got no ships in port. They've already shipped out. You can see 92,000 supply, 165,000 fuel. These are those special units. This is a convoy unit. This is how the game abstracts what's coming from England or the UK in general. And they come in, these 30 merchant ships, they drop off. You can't control these. They're like static units. This will be here for a few turns, then it'll disappear, then it'll come back at some point and drop off more fuel and supplies, but you don't control it. We do have, a base force here, a naval HQ. This is the big base fortress, etc. I've got things out in the penalty box. You can see just a few things. And as you can see, if we look at this, it's a lot of cargo, a lot of transports. This is the Puebla Bra. It's going to Cape Town. Let's see. Let's find the other. Yeah, so these are two Dutch transports that I'm sending over here because they're not doing any good in the Dutch East Indies. There's nothing really left to transport. You've got all your troops early on the first few turns. They should be where you want them. And now for the Dutch anyway, they're going to sit and they're going to wait. We've got a lot of British AKs. We've got a lot of Dutch AKs that I've sent over here. A lot of these I'll put on auto disband or I'll shuffle them when they get over here to make nice 5 or 6 ship cargo task forces that are all of the same quality, whether it be endurance, capacity, or speed. Okay, so that's what's going on at Cape Town. As you can see, we've got a lot coming in and going out to Cape Town, and we've got even more here. What do we have here? These are all the AA anti-aircraft that start at Cape Town. They've now moved, they're moving out of the penalty box. They're heading for Calcutta. I also have this big transport task force that's heading towards Tajilajap. Um, I'll probably change that because it's getting a little too hot and heavy down near the Dutch East Indies. But these are British brigades, battalions that are heading for the Dutch East Indies. I could still put them in Calcutta. I could put them down in Darwin. These are all British troops. We'll see. Right now, I have them headed towards the Dutch East Indies to help. We'll see if that continues. This is a KV, the Cycleman. I have this, it's got a very short range, so I'm going to have to try to refuel it at Diego Garcia and then get it probably to Calcutta to do anti-sub work. Okay, moving around the map. Colombo is the other big node. You can see it's got big fuel, big supply. It's also got the British Navy at this point in the game. We got the Hermes, the Cornwall, the Exeter, the Glasgow, the Caledon. We've also got another light cruiser heading down here. You saw that. We've got a lot of ships that are loading, unloading. Um, this is what I wanted to point out at Colombo. Find every ship like this you can, Louisianian, 2 points or 1 point. Now, these are both 2 point ships because they have a 6,500 endurance, a 4,000 endurance. Um, this is only a 1 point ship, right? Find all the 1 and 2 point ships that you can, put them at Colombo and Calcutta, and that's all you send into Rangoon. Do not send anything higher than a 1 or 2 point ship. And what'll end up happening is it'll look like he's sinking quite a bit of ships, and they'll all add up to like 10 points total. And you can get Rangoon supplied and fueled with what you have starting the game out Calcutta, and take them out of the Dutch East Indies. All those 1 or 2 point ships, take them Calcutta to Rangoon. You can see here Australia Star. I'm sending north. This I'm sending to Cape Town. These guys I'm sending to Abaddon. The Fetterlock, that's going up to Abaddon. So as you can see, get them out of Colombo, get them out of Calcutta. If they've got a nice endurance, I'm saying over 10,000, let's say, send them to to Abaddon or Cape Town. If they're less than that and they're 1 or 2 point ships, have those be the ships that go into the hot spots. All right. Madras, I always keep a pretty nice contingent at Madras. These are also troops you could buy out and send into Rangoon if things start to go poorly there, if you want to. So I bring a lot of the things that are in the center of the country to Madras or to Calcutta. All right. Uh, all of this stuff out here, I try to aggregate in those two places or potentially Bombay. Over in Calcutta, You'll see again, I mean, we've got a lot of stuff here at Calcutta, but you'll see we got these HTMLs, we got an AP. These are the third Assam rifles. These came down the rail lines, came to Calcutta, and I've got this little Taria that is not the best transport in the world. It's 12 points. We're going to use this to put troops in to Rangoon. Do not use your 20 point or 30 point transports going into Rangoon. If you can, try to find an 8 point transport that goes in there. Uh, these are just sitting here. These are 5 point ships. I'm not going to send them into Rangoon. Now, this early, you may risk it because he doesn't really have his bombing campaign of Rangoon set up yet. Um, it's just something to think about, but no reason to throw away 20 points when you've got 1 or 2 point ships that can go in here. Such as these are all 1 point ships, Selma or 2 point ships. I'm sorry, Selma City, Santa Ana, Illinois, those are coming out of Calcutta. They're all 2 point ships. Let's see what we have here. These are 2 point ships, right? And when you add them all together, though, and they come in here, you can get a lot of supply into Rangoon. Now, why am I talking about Rangoon so much? Well, it's one of the more important spots on the map. Um, and you got to try to hold back Japanese aggression here at Pagoo and Rangoon. I've already gotten a lot of troops in here. You can see we've got a lot, and we've got the Flying Tigers all here at Rangoon. So we've got, the best of the Allied fighters early in the game running cap over Rangoon. As we move down into Malaya, I've gotten quite a bit out to and down to Singapore. There are other things we're trying to get out. Now, these are smaller units, and they were smaller units even starting out. Um, so I try to use these as a blocking force. Now he's gotten out of Kuantan and he's blocking us here at Temala. We still hold Kuala Lumpur, but I'm now pulling out to Singapore. Now he's also landed at Mersing, but as long as we can hold Johor Bahru, and I've got my Australians here, I've got other stronger units here, or AA units. This base force actually has some AV as well. I may move a unit or two up here just to hold this long enough to get all of my Kuala Lumpur units. And you can see we've got 71. So I mean these guys aren't as strong as it looks with the number of units they've got, but we've got them all moving. I've got him. Let's actually move him to combat, and let's make sure he's moving to Singapore. Um, Yeah, you can see all of these are marching. Set all to this op mode, set all to these combat orders, set all to follow, and this will change every tile here. Um, and then change this to Singapore. Singapore, he says. Sometimes if you don't click right on the flag, you got a problem. There we go. On to Singapore we go. Um, and then we'll set all of these to be ready for Singapore. We're going to pull out of Kuala Lumpur. I've also got these units heading to Singapore. And I think he's going to try to come across this road and block them. But in some ways, this maybe will slow him down. We'll fight him down here. That's fine. I kept these units up in Allure Star. You can't get this major coastal unit out of Georgetown. I got everything else out. But at Allure Star, these are stronger units. I'm going to let them sit here and just duke it out with him. I've got him on combat mode, defend, and just, hold him off a little bit. I hope. I hope. We'll see. They may get knocked out of there this time. So in Malaysia, yep, we're just, trying to fall back and trying to hold him up. Now at Singapore, we've got all kinds of stuff. I mean, I could go through all this, but the basic idea is the torpedo bombers. I've got them at 6,000 feet, maximum range 6 on naval attack. So I've got my level bombers, naval attack. And those are a lot of those attacks that we saw this last turn. I've got all of my escorts now up at 60 cap, but a maximum range of 1. So all they're going to do is run cap right over Singapore. I don't want them going out and escorting here. A lot of these torpedo bombers and level bombers are sacrificial lambs, let's say, as we try to knock out one or two Japanese main ships if we can. All right, so that's Malaysia. In Sumatra, I've got a lot of things moving to Palembang, a lot of things moving to Oosthaven. I am sticking around in Sabang for the most part, and I'm going to go up and try to resupply it. Sabang is harder for him to take. It takes him time to do it. So I'm just going to leave him up here. It's very hard to get him down here anyway. I was thinking about sending some transports up here, but I'm just going to leave them. So we've got a lot coming into Palembang. Now we've had a lot of ships sunk by these two task forces that have moved in here. There is nothing else coming out here now. We do have this guy that's trying to retreat. This is a light cruiser, actually, and he's trying to head back to Singapore. That's probably not a good idea, and I'll change that this time. But I'm not going to tell you where exactly. We may go into Palembang. We may try to get down to Surabaya. I don't think I'm going to let him try to get back into Singapore. That seems like a really bad idea. Um, okay, so that's that. In the Dutch East Indies, the main places obviously are Batavia, Surabaya, Tjilajap. Those are, this triangle is kind of where I put everything, along with Koepang and Somlaki. So I've got five main bases that I use here. Balikpapan, Tarakan, you're just trying to hold on. You can see he's landed in all of these northern places. It's only a matter of time till he comes to Balikpapan and Tarakan. You're always going to lose Borneo and Sarawak unless you're just playing somebody that has no clue what they're doing. But these big task forces got into us right here. What can I say? I mean, they beat us up a little bit. Now we do have a lot of Dutch light cruisers, and sometimes you may think about wanting to go out here and take on a very aggressive Japanese player like this, but he's got light carriers out here somewhere, and they would rip through our light cruisers, and so you got to be careful with that. And I think what I'm going to do is call this an episode. I'm going to continue to set up, and when we come back next time, we'll show the next combat turn, and then the next one of these type of videos I do, we'll go through the other half of the map. We'll talk about Australia, we'll talk about Papua New Guinea, the little islands out here, and the US West Coast. So anyway, this has been Strategy Gaming Dojo. Hopefully you enjoyed this, maybe even learned a thing or two. I know I did. I always do every time I play this game. Anyway, Strategy Gaming Dojo out. Talk to you next time. Have a good one.